Welcome everyone, and great to see new and familiar faces for this webinar. This is the second webinar in our At Scale series, where we focus on agile practices and good tooling. I'm Mattias Olausson, CTO with Solidify, and I'm here just to give a brief intro to Solidify and the topic, and then I'll hand over to Jimmy and Bjarne, who will give us an interesting session about how to master Scaled Agile, and this is a deep dive into Azure DevOps and the at scale extension to Azure DevOps. So I'm really looking forward to what you guys have put together, but yeah, let's hold you a little bit. A few words about our sponsor. So at Solidify, we're in the making software development easy business, and we think it's kind of fun in this context because we have been a DevOps shop for a long time. We always liked and loved the technical platforms like Azure DevOps, but without having good ways of working and the people who works with the platform, it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, what we like to offer is advice and tooling to make the art of software development easy. And as it turns out, we become a specialist on tooling and technologies on top of the Microsoft stacks. So that's primarily Azure DevOps, Azure, and GitHub. And yeah, nowadays we're long-standing partners with GitHub and Microsoft, as well as the Scaled Agile community, thanks to our at scale extension to Azure DevOps. And depending on where you met us before, you might know that we do a little bit of advisory, we do a bit of products, and as well as we also take care of platforms for you. So I want to leave that with the audience here as well, that if you have a need to migrate to Azure DevOps, or if you want to improve your skills with Azure DevOps or in agile practices, we're here to help. But we always love to help and be part of any transformation journey where our customers want to go to something easier, something better. So with that, that's about Solidify, and I'll hand over to Bjarne to kick things off and introduce, I guess, both you, Bjarne, and as well as Jimmy.
Yeah, okay. Hello, everyone. I will be Bjarne, and just a brief introduction. I am an Agile Coach, work as a Scrum Master and a transformation lead. I have done a lot of things. I've been working in the Agile world the last 12, 15 years. And I have been working with Azure DevOps for the last 11, 12 years. And was the first one to introduce or set up at scale at Novo Nordisk. And now it's into more companies in Denmark. So yeah, I think that's probably introduction by me. Should I run through the agenda?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The first of all, we will just. It's a little different. It's not only in the system we will have a talk, but it's very important for me to talk about purpose and the content of the work items. And finally, I will jump into the way of working for the product management, the product owner, and the team. And we will have some different levels in planning in Azure DevOps. So yeah, I think that's probably it. Jimmy, will you introduce?
Yes, and I'm Jimmy Kåsby. I'm the product owner for At Scale. I will go through some of the core functionality. During today's session, we will go through the world's fastest PI planning. So around 20 minutes for a full PI planning with risks, objectives, and everything. So it's going to be fun. Stay tuned for that.
And if you have questions, I think we prefer if we have a discussion at the end, but if you, like me, have a goldfish memory, then just type in the chat, and some of us will be moderating and answering questions as we go, but otherwise we'll sum it up at the end of the session as usual. So with that, I think, Bjarne, you can take over the screen sharing if you like.
I'm trying to share the screen. Let's see. Something is happening. Yeah.
It's blank at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Yes. And just a second, I would like to see all of you also. Yes. So why talk about the purpose of Azure DevOps? Yeah, it's my experience the last lot of years. We have a lot of discussion about Azure DevOps. Can we do that? Can we do this? And just to cut it out, it's a handling tool for business and development with focus on planning and coordination, collaboration, and we can have it in different views. And of course, we can do some metrics on both team and arts. The main reason is actually I have a lot of questions. Can we use it as a control tool? And I would say definitely not. This is not a control tool. It's a tool for work, so it's a working tool. So what's the mindset of this? Your mindset should be value driven. So you can put a lot of stuff, you can show a lot of stuff in Azure DevOps, and it will be a big mess if you don't control what you will like to see or what you will like to use it for. So in that matter, it should be value driven. And if you have any functionality you're not going to use, then just pull it out, because as I said, you can use it for a lot of stuff. So so use the tool right, use it for what you need for and nothing else. So that's actually why I'm showing this picture, is use the tool right for that, what you need it for. Yes. Sorry if I'm talking a little fast, but I have a lot of slides to show and a lot of things to. So should we just have this one regarding the purpose, Jimmy?
Yes, of course. I will just shortly explain what the purpose of At Scale is. Around 3 years or 3.5 years ago, since we're working a lot with DevOps in our organization, we saw that there are some gaps in the functionality, especially on the scaled level. So the purpose of At Scale is we try to make collaboration as easy as possible, especially in complex organizations. We also try to ease the scaled agile practices, and we will show the functionality as well. And with all of that, we also do that in the security and the comfort of Azure DevOps. So we can also view it as we enhance the capabilities of Azure DevOps, and we fill in the gaps, basically of what we see is missing to work in a good way on a scaled level. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. And what I would like to show you today, just to share with you, I have a kind of catalog I have created with a lot of different things to talk about. But I think we should start out just to have a common view of what's Azure DevOps is capable of and what it's used for, because there's a lot of detailed things you can jump into, and if we gonna plan another session, we can definitely jump into more details way of working. So for today, we'll just make sure if we have a common reference basic. So we will talk about the content, the work item content. We will have a look into how product management can navigate, how a product owner can navigate, and how a daily team will navigate. And the work items. For this session, we will only talk about the Agile process, not the Scrum process, the CMI process, or the basic process. There are some differences, but the most used in my world is in the Agile process, so that's why we're using this. And yeah, just to share with you, I got some questions for a lot of companies who would like to have the top management into this tool also. So that's why I introduce OKRs, strategic teams. But normally we are talking about epic feature stories and tasks. The epics, the features on art level, the features stories on team level, and definitely the task on team levels. Oh, one thing I forgot is, of course, there's more work items to have in there. We can actually create a lot of work items like risk, issues, bugs, iteration goals, test case, maintenance, risk. So there's a lot of stuff in there. Sorry for my slide. There's something missing out here, but it says actually the demand. The demand is all the process, all down to the task. The task is actually delivery. So yes, Jimmy and I have talked a lot about this, but but actually that's how it is in my world. So you can have different opinions, but the story tells us what would I like to have, and the feature is what we like to have as a company and so on, and the epic is actually a kind of a project description. So everything is regarding demand. So that's why I'm talking into task. And that's just my experience regarding the task. I always talk about the please use task. Well, company work difference, and so it is. So a fast thing regarding the work items, content. If I should have talked about this a couple of years ago, I would just say there's 3 different views or different work items. But today we have a lot of different work items, and the content can be adjusted. Can you plan by yourself? You can put almost everything in there. So if I just will, one of the new things I'm using is actually the tab size. We have a company who would like to have WSGIF in a tab. All the data for the WSGIF they would like to put in a tab, and also the economics could be a new tab, because someone has to share about the business case and so on. So they would like to have some figures, some numbers in there. So that's also just to share with you. It's all configurable. Yeah, that's just fair. The unique about the work items is actually to have the states, where are we, and the area in mostly in it's dependent on a team. It can be other things. And the iteration. So this is a main thing just to share with you regarding the work item. Okay, let's continue. And a project configuration in Azure DevOps. Well, we talk about different setups. Jimmy and I has actually come from have 2 suggestions. We have I call it a large organization and a mono organization in Azure DevOps. So just to explain for you, let's see if it's working. Yes, it's working, Jimmy. We will create the lean portfolio management and solutions train in one project in Azure DevOps wise, and one project. So, and this is actually one of the very good things in at scale. At scale is able to go across. Azure DevOps is not able to go across at the moment. So, but there's some possibilities in the future, I think. But at scale is solving this issue, and it's a fantastic tool for that. So let me see. I have a little picture down here. Maybe I can. No, I cannot. So, sorry for that. So, and if we have the mono organization, we will put everything in one project. So that can be feasible for some companies, and the other solution is for other companies. That's just how it is today. Yes, so a little deep into this mono organization in Azure DevOps setup. We will actually create teams for lean portfolio, for the solution train, for the arts, and team planning can also be a team. So that's how it's set up in one art project or one Azure DevOps project. And just to ramp up, we have the OKRs is in the portfolio layer. We have the strategic team that can be in a solution train. It can be the portfolio, and the solution chain can also be in one. We have the Apex is the art management responsibility, and we have the feature. It's the product management or the product owner responsible. We have the stories that is in the product owner responsibility, and we have the task is in the team responsibility. So if we just run into the last organization, is that we will have this lean portfolio management and solution chain in one project. It can be good for companies who would like to, at the portfolio level management, they would like to have a possibility to have their own kind of a playground, their own planning, so it will not be visible until they release it. So it's a kind of a way of working. So, and yes, and for the rest, the art, we have the art management, we have the team planning, and we have the development teams. Yes. One important thing to say that is the ownership in the work item will change from one to another when we go for one project to another project. So it will not be visible in the planning part, what's at this level, what's happening in the other projects, unless you use at scale. Then it's probably possible to see it. Yes. So let's jump into the product management. And once again, it's only examples how it can be fitted. It's not the only way. So I will just share with you what's possible and not what to do. There is not one solution for this. We will have a backlog view where we can have the epic views for an art, and where we can actually do some prioritization. We have the possibility to have some epic refinement, and we have, of course, a possibility to have a full view, and that's actually in at scale. And the same goes for features. We have the priority row for features, and that can go across more teams. And of course, the refinement, the feature refinement can also go across more teams. So it's possible to divide the features into several teams as we do the planning. And once again, we can have the overall view in one board. So let's jump into some. Let's see, what are we just showing this one? Yeah. So now I'm jumping into the live system, and just to share with you an example of a work item of a strategic team, how it can be described, how we can put in data for it. It's yeah, and we can also just have another look. Let's see if we jump into the OKRs. How can they be described? We can put in the objectives, the key results, and the business outcome, epic ideas. So all configurable, what you would like to have in each work item. So let's see what we got for next. Yeah, it was just this one. And so let's jump into the board just to show. This is the backlog, and this is just for example use. Now we only have four epics, just to share that it's possible to prioritize. So this is actually the order in the prioritization. And if we jump into the next one, and this is showing how we can refine the features, the epics, and we have put in the different columns. So the way of working is from one side to another. So, and it will end up in it's ready to implement. So it actually can be divided into features. Yes. So, and this view, just to share with you, this is the overall view where we actually can have the solution. Let's just jump up to the top. Here we have the OKRs, just to show how it can be shown, how it is dependent on each other, on how the way is. So we jump into the solution train. We will have yeah.
Just to explain, this is within at scale.
Yeah, yeah, this is an at scale. So the at scale is very useful to have a view, an overall view, and actually just to show you where we can come from the OKRs and we can actually go all the way down to the task. So we can have it all in one view. And to share with you, this view is actually a 1 year view. So we are able to do the planning from here, and we can drag and drop. Yeah. So, okay. Let's jump into, and now we are jumping into the way of working as a PM. It's the art management level. So now we have more teams in here, and we can, once again, we can prioritize. We can add different values to each of the features. What I will recommend is actually this view. Remember, we are working with more teams, and we have not decided, or for some of the features, we have decided which team it should go into, and for some we are not there yet. But we are working with the refinement, so it will be ready to take into a PI planning. And one of the questions I've got, is it possible that we can have more, have a view and say, can we have more PIs in one view? Yes, we can. And we can actually put in or drag in the different features into other PIs. One thing to mention is this is totally manual, so it will not change anything. It just gives you a better view to work with it. And we can do some color separation in regard to which team. This is a web team. This is not this. The white one has not been decided, and maybe we have a blue team. Yes, we have, and it's going to another team. So this is the planning for more teams. Yes. Let's jump back to the presentation. So this should be all this in a view, in a practical view. Let's jump into the product owner way of working. Navigation, it's kind of similar. We will have this this board for, and just for examples, this is the board for one team, and we have the prioritization row for one team. Let's jump into the live presentation. This should probably be this one. So now we have jumped into one team. It's a web team, and there we got the prioritization row once again. And if we just jump into the refinement view, there we actually have possibilities again to work with refinement. One thing I have been asked for is actually, is it possible to have a checklist for when we have what we need to do and what we what is important for the single features. And just for example view, I can share with you. I have created a checklist where we actually can check mark, say, okay, have we checked the design? Have we done this alignment stakeholder? And now we're actually ready to go next, go to the next column in the process. Yes, and once again, we have the possibilities to drag and drop it into other yes. If something is not ready for, then we can actually work with that. Yes, and yeah, yes. Just to jump back to. So that was how the way of working is for a product owner. Let's jump into a team. And once again, just to share with you, this is the daily board. This is the sprint board where it's iteration board also. And let me jump into the lives again. So just to, this is the web team that we're working with. And somebody's happening. And this is how you can plan it. And we have it's a drag and drop possibilities to drag and drop each story into iteration. And if we have put some story points in there, then it will actually collect the story points and we can adjust it according to the capacity and load. Yes. And if we jump into the daily work, come on, we have to jump into. So this is the daily board that we will work on. We have on this side, we have all the stories, and we have broken all the stories down into to task. Sorry for the naming. There's no, it's a headline that could be better. So, but this is actually where we do the daily work. And the exciting thing is if you are gonna use the remaining hours, yes, I know it's difficult to talk about, it's difficult to use because you should use it as a tool, not as a control tool. So if you use it the right way, you can actually have a burn down chart on remaining hours and you can adjust it day by day and said, okay, this is not, we cannot deliver all of it, or yes, we can actually deliver more, then we can adjust as we go along. So yeah, I think that's actually, there's a lot of possibilities. You can change the columns, what's in for you, what you need to show. You can use activity, and that's actually what I'm using in my planning. Now there's only one in there. So if I will just hit up the work details, then we can actually do some detailed planning and say, okay, the team is red. We have a load of 111 hours, but we have only a capacity of 72 hours. And we can go all the way down to the single resources. Yes. Okay, and the last one is actually this view, jumping into at scale once again. It's a great view to work with in a team also. Now we actually have all our iterations and we can collect and say, yes, we are able to deliver. We need to push this one, then we can drag and drop it into another iteration. And we can use some coloring. It says, okay, when they're green, they're closed, and when they are, I don't know, purple or something like that, they are active. And yes, I think that's almost it. We can also at scale, we can drag and drop into other teams or what we would like to do. We can actually drag and drop it into another art. It's very simple and it's working very well. I think that was the fastest speaking I ever done. So I think that's it for my presentation. Let me see, just to catch up, is there anything I forgot? Yes, maybe just 30 seconds. Of course, we can do iteration review, we can do retrospective, we can do the iteration planning. We did show that. We can do capacity planning with a calendar function. And the last one is, come on, oh, not too fast. And we can do the PI planning. Jimmy will show you right away. We can do the epic refinement. Yes, we show that. We can do the Scrum of Scrum. And we can do the feature refinement and planning process. Yes, we showed also that. So there's a lot of possibilities to put everything agile / safe into Azure DevOps. And we can do it all. Yes. Now, Jimmy, you may take over.
Yeah, you can show my slides. I have two, and then I will take over the screen. So
yeah.
If you continue. Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about what at scale is, and it helps with a lot of things. We focus a lot on the increment planning part to help team members and teams collaborate to do a more predictable delivery. We help with dependency visualization. We also help with the process and making sure that scaled agile processes are as easy as possible to do. So I will go over some of our core functionality, all from like prioritization, probably the most important thing you need to do when you start planning for an increment, and then up to the execution, things like that. If you go to the next slide, so that will show a little bit of our core functionality at scale. So we will cover all of this. I won't go in on roadmaps as much. You probably saw Bjarne's picture in the beginning. You also see it there in the slide that you can work with iteration bound items, but you can also work with start and target date to visually show like how long an item can take. So that's it. I'm going to jump into the demo, and I hope you're ready for the world's fastest PI planning. Bjarne mentioned a little bit about project structures. I won't get into detail on that, but here we have a couple different examples. I want to show you now. I'm going to go in on the farm. This is Agile Release Train, which is a group of 5 to 12 teams planning together. They are working in this project, and the portfolio is working in this project. I just want to show the capabilities of at scale. So I'm going to jump into the portfolio here. I have created a couple of different views, and let's go back to planning here. So here I have the portfolio roadmap, and this spans over a year. This is something you can create within at scale. I have the solution train view, and in the solution train view, I have the fruit train and then the farm agile release train. And in the portfolio project, I also have to oversee or like just be able to get a quick overlook at the farm agile release train and the fruit agile release train. We're currently on PI 4/23. You can see it started 16th of October, and we finish in December. So this PI has already been planned for. It got planned around 2 weeks ago. I'm going to show you how a like finished board would look, but I'm going to focus on the next PI. So we imagine we jump ourselves into the beginning of January. Christmas is over. We're starting the next PI. So if I jump to the other project, the farm, which I'm currently in, you can see in this project, I have a couple different views. Here, I'm only focusing on my Agile Release Train, my teams, and I also have a roadmap view here. If I check just quickly on the roadmap view and I jump in here, we can see we have an overview here of the different features we have planned. And I can see that we don't have a lot planned for the next PI. And this is what I will be focusing on. But let's jump into like a PI view here. So I'm going to jump into PI 4/23. So it's the last PI for that Agile Release Train during that year. Here we can see a couple of different things. We have all the teams. We have a swim lane for milestones in the top. As you can see here, I can also set markers in that scale. So I can use like leverage the marking system, which you add through adding markers here. And I added an event, which is we're going to plan for this event today, which is the Azure DevOps deep dive event that you're currently viewing. I can also have the possibility in this example, Bjarne explained a little bit of the different work items and such. Here I have a custom work item type called milestone, which I've added. And I've written the description that the presentation should be ready and every participant should be happy. So I hope we succeed with that today. And I can collapse everything to easily view within the board. See, we can have one feature here in this sprint. We have user stories. We can see in and outgoing dependencies if we do this, but I can also use the board. So as you can see, we have some user stories that are closed. We're currently in today. We look here, we're almost at the end of the first sprint. We can see that these cards are getting closed. We have one dependency here that hasn't been solved. So you can use this during the execution phase as well. I can color them by green, which I've set a styling rule for. Bjarne explained that a little bit, but I have one rule for closed cards that are done green, and then for active cards that have been picked up, they're going to be colored purple. It's very easy to work within the board. You can break down this into tasks. If I look at user stories, if I want to break down a feature, I just click the dots and then I can break it down to different kind of work item types. You can see here that we have load and capacity. So it calculates the total load. We can see that this story has received a story point of 3, 5, so it adds a total of 8. The capacity is 15, so it's signaling health, it's green. We can see in the next sprint, however, that the capacity is 10 and the load is 10. So it's signaling that this is at the brink of too much. You won't be able to have a predictable delivery. So perhaps we have some room to move it into this item, and then you can see that it helps recalculate. So at scale also helps you with the capacity planning. As you can see in this board that we planned for, it's a lot of work items. You can filter. Just show that quickly. You can do compact cards. You can hide cards without dependencies. So when you're doing planning, you can focus to make sure that the dependencies are handled in a good way. You can also use filtering. If I go back, and here I can filter. If I want to see everything connected to, let's see, technical solution, this is an epic. I can see all the features connected to this particular epic. Also see that these are connected to PI objectives. All right, let's start with the next PI. So for the next PI, we don't have any items. And the first thing we need to do is we need to prioritize our backlog. And I'm going to do that by a framework called weighted shortest job first. It's easy, once you get the hang of it, quite easy to work with. So I'm going to load up a query here within that scale. And I click new and I run it. So I'm looking at the items in the backlog. You can work with any items. At the moment, I'm looking at features. You can work with epics as well if you'd like. If I run this query and then I look at the different values I can work with, weighted shortest job first works with all of these values. I definitely recommend to go through all of them. But I have assigned already everything except for effort and value. So when I click in here, we can see that you can see the values that have been given on the time critical and risk reduction. However, it does not have a value on business value and the effort. So the idea is here, you see unprioritized and result. So during a collaboration session, we will go through all these. So perhaps this one is an effort of 5 versus a business value of 13. You can see the results grow here. And once we've gone through all the backlogs, I'm just going to drag it and drop here. I can drag them to the same, or perhaps let's say that soil health assessment is very, very easy to do, and then the business value is very high. Now we have our results here, and we can see that soil assessment has received the highest score, the WestGIF of 31. So we know that is the thing we should prioritize first. So very quick here, we're about 9 minutes left. I'm going to jump into the board. So it's currently an empty board, but if I click on the 3 lines here in that scale, we have something called the mapping pane. And this is looking at the prioritized items. So as we can see here, I have decided the sorting. Let's decide WestGIF as well. So I haven't added that. So the higher the WestGIF score something has, the first thing we should prioritize. So example, I can also look at the filter here. If I want to look things that are assigned to me, I can filter here if that's done already. But in this case, I'm going to drag these features to the estimated delivery sprint. So I'm going to drag and drop a couple things. As I do this, it automatically updates the iteration as well and area path within Azure DevOps. So now we have a couple of features to drag a dependency. Maybe the soil management, to go that we have an event here. It has a dependency that the soil health assessment feature should be delivered. So we create a dependency by dragging from and to. And let's say my team, at the moment, we're doing the team breakout. We want to focus on just our swim lane. I can close everything. And let's say I'm part of the chicken team. I can start breaking this one down into user stories. And perhaps another user story. And let's enable user stories here as well. They are enabled. So now they are added here. At the moment, I can then optimize my flow. I can add the capacity here, which haven't been done yet. And let's say we do like planning poker, things like that as we do. So like I assign a story point here. This will automatically be calculated as well. So you can work with this during PI planning to help the teams, but you can also work with this to like enable good discussions and everything that you need to succeed with your planning. Because what do we want in the end? We want deliverables we can commit to, and we don't want to overestimate. Some other things you can do, of course, is when you're doing PI planning, there are risks that need to be addressed. So let's say I'm part of the chicken team and I want to write down a risk. And the risk is that weather is unpredictable in, let's say, January. We know this might impact like our entire value stream, because if the weather is bad, our farm, we won't be able to grow the potatoes, tomatoes, things that we want. So this is something that I've written down. I'll just write down another risk. And when you're going through the risk, which usually happen during the second day, you should add them to the resolved, owned, accepted, or mitigated, one of these states. So when you're going through the risk one by one, you add perhaps the weather is unpredictable. Yeah, what can we do? We can't really change the weather. Or maybe we solve it by building like a greenhouse. So the weather isn't as important or a factor that can impact us. So maybe I go in here, I write how we solved it, leave it there, and maybe something gets ownership of. Another important thing is, and I saw that question in the chat as well, is PI objective. It is important to set goals to succeed with your planning. So if I head to objectives here, we have the goals that have been set. Here we've written one objective. We want to increase customer retention by reducing churn rate from 15 to 8%. I also have a couple team objectives on the chicken team here. If I want to add, these are art level PI objectives, and these are team level objective. If I want to create a team level objective, maybe we can take increase team delivery by 10%. Then we assign the planned business value here. And this is something done by the business owner. So it's a relative estimation between 1 and 10. So if I write, perhaps this one is given a 6. When you're doing the PI planning, you don't assign the actual business value until it has been delivered. And perhaps, like, let's say the improved customer retention, this one is linked actually. There are some features that will help this PI objective. So greenhouse automation might be that, and then the mobile weather app will make our customers more happy. So this creates like a hierarchy that you can look down on. You can see here that these features are going to help us deliver this PI objective, and PI objectives are tied to one increment. As we close things, or I didn't have any children here. If it would have had children, if I go to another view here, I've already created some children. So we have another PI objective here. So we can see the status quickly, how things are going with the linked features. And we can also see on the child item level. So if I look at farm to table traceability here as a feature, we can see it's 60% done based on the children of this particular feature. So it has 5 children, 3 have been closed. So it's 60%. So this gives you a good view, like during the execution, during the scrum of scrums, during the PO sync, to go in, review, ask the right questions, have the right discussions as you deliver value on a PI objective. Click here, edit. So we wanted to increase the customer satisfaction here. The planned business value was 10. Perhaps we managed to achieve 5, so half. And however, we have 22 total planned, and at the moment it's 5, so 23%. And let's say on the reduced lead time for features delivered by 30%, this one managed to deliver 10, so over expectations. You can see that the achievement thing grows. So these are the capabilities that we enable with that scale to collaborate, working with the right things. And we've gone through very quickly the board with around do the prioritization, risks, objectives. What else do we have in that scale? We have the analytic part. And we have, like a couple of months ago, we released flow metrics and support for flow. There's a lot about talk about flow. And I don't have the correct data in this project, so I'm actually going to jump into another project here. And yeah, here's just an example of a solution train view as well, with the dependencies across solution Agile release trains. But I wanted to show you the analytics, right? So if I go here, I select the dashboard, flow metrics. I'm going to select which Agile release train. And I take the web order Agile release train. And I want to look at features. I want to look at enablers. I want to look at the user stories, maybe bugs as well. And I want to look at these 3 themes. And I don't want to look at every PI. I want to see this kind of view. So then you can easily see, like with flow distribution, what is a good thing you can see with flow distribution? By looking at the distribution of different items within your environment, perhaps we're working with too many business like initiative. We're not working with architectural features. You're able to see some kind of hazardness. In the future, we might end up with more technical debt. So this is a good reason why we should look at the flow distribution. You can zoom in, zoom out on these. You can also have them just on the team level. Like I only want to look for my team, then I have my team metrics here. With flow load, you're able to see, are we working with too many things in parallel? An example could be, like you probably heard that try to reduce work in progress. If you have too many user stories, things at the same time, it will impact your ability to deliver value to your users. Also quickly, we have the how good are we at achieving the PI objective on the business value, actual versus planned. So then you can see that as well, if are we going in a good direction or not. Then we have flow velocity. This one shows the average speed either for a team or the entire Agile release trains. Flow time histogram. This is from the creation of an item in the backlog to the completion. So that something is long doesn't necessarily mean something is bad. It means the priorities have changed, but you're able to view this, have the correct discussions, and then see if you have any impacts or bottlenecks that is impacting your delivery. And the last one here that I'm currently not showing is flow efficiency. And that is coming very, very shortly. It's been very tricky for our team, but it's coming, and it's basically what it's going to do. It's going to show how efficiently things are flowing through the system for your team. Like if I go for the blue team, it's going to be able to show you, if I find the blue team here, and we look at just user stories as an example, it will be able to show you if you choose the different states here, active versus doing something. So if the team picks up delivery for this, it gets put here. So this is a waiting state because we're waiting for QA to pick up this for testing. It's going to calculate how efficiently things are flowing through your Kanban for the teams, for the arts. So I believe that is going to be a really valuable metric to have a look at. I went 1 minute over, but I want to thank everyone for listening. And we did the world's fastest PI planning probably, but thank you for listening. Now it's time for questions. If you have them, I will gladly answer them.
Right. Yeah. That was a whirlwind. A lot of content to take in. I think we have a few questions that you might want to touch on from the chat, and me and Dexter tried to answer most of them, but one was about business value, and what I think Toyin had a question for you, Jimmy, that when you said you mean you don't assign business value until it has been delivered. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that? When
Yes.
it's a good time to set those values?
If we're talking about PI objectives, right? So we're setting a perception. What do we think the value is going to be on a relative scale? Once it gets completed, the business owner assigns, did we achieve it 100% as an example? If it's very like, if the PI objective is very clear that you want to reach a specific percentage of something, let's say we want to achieve, I don't know, delivery of 10% more, and we manage to achieve 5, that is very easy to see that it's pretty much half. So if you're specific with things like that, when you're setting the PI objectives, it makes it easier to set the actual business value as well. But that is done by the art management team or the business owner, basically, that assigns these values. We will share the slide as well, and the recording. It will be up on YouTube for everyone asking. Do you have something to fill in there, Bjarne?
I was just looking at the questions also, because I can see there is a very interesting question regarding, can we add dependencies between arts, work item in the arts? Maybe we can show that, Jimmy, in the portfolio. I think we have created the board with different arts.
I showed one view, but I can get back to that, of course. One of the views that I showed was example. I know you have a view, but one of the solution train view I had in this project, these are arts. So these are cross-art dependencies. This is a web order Agile release train, which contains 5 teams. Same with the farm team here. We have created 2 swim lanes here, basically to show this kind of view. But I can also jump into your project here. What is the mono project?
Yeah.
And then at scale. And these are examples, right?
Exactly.
So here we have solution train dependencies. We have Agile release train as its own swim lane here. If you want to reduce the noise, you can go in here, maybe remove the user stories, because this is strategic things. Makes it a little bit clearer. And then you can drag the kind of dependencies to have. If the content management system is something we'll have to solution train, I can create the different dependencies as well.
And that's actually one of the very, very large benefits with at scale is actually you are able to create dependencies across arts. You are able to move work items across arts in one track. It's very difficult to do it alone in Azure DevOps, but in at scale you can do it right away by drag and drop.
We have a question by Toyin that I like. I think it's a question for you, Bjarne.
Okay.
How do you respond to serious change during the iteration?
Yeah, what does it mean by serious respond? Let me see.
Toyin, maybe you want to fill in by asking through a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so afternoon. So what I meant here is like, so during the iteration, for example, there's a change that can affect the whole delivery you're working on. So how do you respond using ADO to the change?
Yeah, we have to consider if it's not possible to deliver. I think that can be the way. Then we actually should consider what to do, what to pull out, and how to change it. The most important thing when you have this issue is actually that you have it, you see it right away, at least day by day, so you can do some reaction on that. So that's actually, you need to figure out, if you are not able to deliver, then you need to figure out what to do, what to pull out, or do any changes, so you can do a reaction very fast. But most of all, we need to take something out. We need to align on it's not possible to deliver, so we cannot deliver. Or we do need to do some change in the priority and take something, other things out and have it in there. Was this what you? Was this the answer that you would like to have?
Yes, he wrote yes.
Oh, yes. So, yes.
And while we have like 2 minutes left, I would you can continue asking your questions. I would just like, if you could, everyone, participate in a Menti that I've created. It's just 2 questions that will really help us in the future. So if I go, let's see, there we go. So if you go to menti.com, you write this code, there are 2 questions that I would like to have answered. This one is 1 word about today's session. And the other one is, if there's a particular topic you would like to see in the future, please let us know. So I'll write this in the chat, so I won't be taking, I'll add it as a screen in the chat. And one more thing is, last thing, if you want to see the website for At Scale, I have it here. It's solidify.dev/scale. And this is our email for At Scale. And as well, Dexter can write that in the chat. If you want to reach out to me or Bjarne, here are our emails as well. But yeah, we have more time for questions, and I'll write the Menti in the chat as well.
Yeah, we got a couple of recent questions regarding blocked items, how to track blocked item, and also whether to use a blocked state or a field or a tag, or what's a good practice.
In my experience is actually to use it in the state. So I will create it in the state and use it there, because I probably need to track, to make a query to drag it out, and to have the view of what to do. So that's probably the best way of doing it in my world.
Okay.
Thanks to everyone for the kind words.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think we have reached the time limit, but I can stick around for a couple extra minutes for anyone who wants to ask a few more questions. That is totally fine by me. But I want to thank, from both me, Bjarne, and Mathias, thank you for participating today.
Yeah, thanks for taking time. So we'll share the presentation and the recording, and if we have the format for it, we might come back and answer a few more of the questions. But otherwise, there will be another webinar, not in a not too distant future. So there will be more opportunities to chat, of course.